All right, Quizlet. Quizlet.com is a website that students can go to, and it's like interactive flashcards, games. A lot of it has to do with vocabulary, diagrams, that kind of thing, and it really helps with student memorization. It's kind of more on the basic level of Bloom's, Bloom's taxonomy, but some of the diagrams and interactions that they can do can raise it up a little bit, but a lot of it has to do with a lot of vocabulary help. The ISTE standards is use technology to create, adapt, and personalize learning experiences that foster independent learning and accommodate learner differences and needs. What this is students have many different ways that they can use the flashcards. They can have it give them the definition and then the term, or vice versa. They can create game, or they can't create a game, but they can play a game. And they can then, if you look at the next one, which is explore and apply instructional design principles to create innovative digital learning environments that engage and support learning. This is definitely a website that engages students, and we're gonna dig a little deeper into this. So let's go ahead and go to Quizlet.com. Quizlet.com. You can go ahead and get started with it or sign up, but let's go ahead and I'm going to log in. I already have my information, so I'm going to log in. And what it is you can create classes, and students can sign up for these classes, parents can sign up for these classes, and so on. And what it is essentially online flashcards. And I already have some pre-made, so I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've made. Like this one, you've got the vocabulary word and then the definition. And what it is students, when they go here, they can go to flashcards and have these interactive flashcards where they
an exact location and space.
They can read it to them, and then they can flip to see what it is, and then they can go on to the next one.
A straight path that goes forever in both directions.
Yep, so then they can flip and see that it's a line, and so on. So this is kind of one way that the students can do it. And whoops. And then they can go to learn, get started. And this, what it is they've got rounds, an angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. Well, that's a straight angle. Yay, got it right. So they can learn different things and they can see how they're doing. Other ones, they can write, they can spell, they can test themselves, they can match. I actually use this a lot in class where I have them match. You don't want to do it too much, because then what ends up happening is the students kind of just see what goes with what based on size. But the first few, at least, lines that cross over each other at one point, well, that'd be, intersecting, so they have to take it, and then boom, they disappear. And then they do that and see how much time elapses. And then we do this as like a competition. Gravity, it's a game, just another way to learn, another game to play. And oh, Quizlet Live. Quizlet Live is a great, great thing that you can do. This is one thing. This is a paid option if you really want, but the majority of Quizlet is free, and I would suggest just doing the free version. But you can create a game. And what this is going to do is students on their devices have to go to Quizlet.live. It's not .com, it's .live. And then they type in this code. And what Quizlet Live does is it puts students on teams. It just randomly puts them on teams. And then what they do is it'll ask them questions, and it is a cooperative game. The students have to work together in order to solve the questions or get the questions, and they have to click, like one student will have 4 answers, another student will have 4 answers, and then another student will have 4 answers. So there's 12 answers in between all 3, and the question will go to all of them, and they have to figure out whose computer it's on, so they all have to know. So sometimes what I do is I'll actually have students have their computers so they can't see each other's screens, and they can't go around to see what other people have, but they have to be able to communicate with each other, so that way they can say, hey, the question, the answer is point, who's got point, that kind of thing, rather than going and sometimes students will use the other mouse on another computer to give the answer away. But that's a really, really fun game, and the kids love it. Absolutely love it. Another thing that I've done, that was just basic vocabulary, but I'm going to show you one of the things that I've done, as I've done like this one, which is balancing equations. So I have here where this it would give the student the definition, and they have to figure out then what would go on that blank. Or you could put a variable there if you really wanted to, and they'd have to solve for the variable. But this is like equations here. You can do more than just vocabulary terms. Some of the other ones that I've done, I actually have entire word problems, and they have to solve for the actual amount. So I have an entire word problem, and these are actually really good for Quizlet Live, because the students have to read the question and they have to work together to solve it, and then they have to find out who has the answer. But Quizlet, it's a great way to get students involved, get students engaged in their learning, and learning the vocabulary terms, learning the different methods. It's a very fun activity for all the kids, and they just really, really enjoy it. So as a teacher, I would highly suggest using Quizlet. It's free. You can upgrade to teacher. It gives you some perks, but I've used it for years and I've never paid for anything. So I would suggest using this. It's really easy to jump on in and get started, so I'd suggest doing it tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.